Hey everybody, just wanted to take a quick second to post a video response to my speech to answer just a couple questions, clarify a couple things that I think are probably important. The first and most important one being this: if you pay attention to the date that the speech itself was posted, the original speech, which was in 2006, that obviously was long before, in fact 5 years before, a book titled by the same name came out. That's not to say that the speech itself wasn't inspired by Rob. That is to say that it's not a speech based on his book. And I think that's important to note, because a lot of people recently have used this as a forum to make comments about the book itself, comments about Rob, which is totally fine, because he's a big boy and he can take it, and so am I. But it is to say this: it's not a place to have a discussion necessarily about the book, regardless of the obvious similarity between the title of the speech and the title of his book. The speech actually is something that was inspired primarily by him and a teaching that he had given in 2004, I think, on the Passion of Christ, not the movie, but the literal Passion of Christ. And basically just a reflection on the fact that if we reflect on the way that all played out, that while the world around him was responding with evil, they were cussing at him, spitting on him, mocking him, torturing him, that his response in that moment was always to respond with love. And then the obvious message of the cross itself was a message of love and of sacrifice. That was the basis and the premise for the speech. At that time, I was teaching the novel To Kill a Mockingbird to my English students, and we had just finished reading chapter 9, which if you've ever read that novel before, is a beautiful and wonderful, while fictional, chapter where the main character Atticus is basically describing or explaining to his kids, namely his daughter, the reason why he's choosing to do what it is that he's done. A white man in the South in the 1930s choosing to actually defend a black man accused of rape was, of course, not only suicide for himself and his family, but he wasn't going to win, at least not win in the eyes of the people around him and in that community. There's this beautiful dialogue that happens in chapter 9 where he basically tells his daughter, she asks him, "Are you going to win?" And he tells her no, but that's not an excuse to not do the right thing. And I'm paraphrasing there a little bit, but it essentially is a chapter that touches on that we concept. Atticus very much talks about himself as someone in the trenches fighting to do what is right, regardless of the way that the world around him sees it. And so that was the premise for the speech, and I think that's important to note. Which brings me then just quickly to the second thing I wanted to touch on, and that was this. And I'm going to talk on both sides of this. To those of you well-meaning people of faith, who I think probably are well-meaning when it comes to this, but again, who would use this as a place and an opportunity to take pop shots at Rob, to take pop shots at me, or to make comments about my inadequacy or my lack of knowledge in Scripture, or I don't know, just silly comments like that. I would ask you to check your hearts and maybe perhaps celebrate with me the beauty of a message that is about love and sacrifice, servitude, humbleness, responding to evil not with evil, but responding to evil with good. I would hope that would be something that you would celebrate, that message was able to be spoken to 4 to 500 17 to 18-year-olds who at times don't always think about others and think about themselves. That was the idea and the premise of the speech. And I in no way meant to parallel the historical figures along with Christ in that, but you would be remiss not to mention that history continues to prove that love does in fact win, that responding to evil with more evil perpetuates more evil, but responding to evil with love, it allows you to win, even if it's not winning in the eyes of the community that surrounds you. So, to those of you that would take this as an opportunity to dismantle anything from my own faith to my knowledge of Scripture. Again, I don't know if this is the place for that, nor do I think that that's even remotely accurate. And then the flip side of that would, of course, be to those of you who've used it as a forum to argue about everything from the Crusades to the existence of God. The world's made up of a lot of different people, and we all obviously have our thoughts and views and approaches to faith and God in general. But listen, I think if at the end of the day we can't all agree that loving and treating your fellow man with kindness and servitude and sacrifice isn't a good thing, if we can't agree on that, then I think we're in monumental trouble. So look, I would encourage you all just to check your hearts and make sure that you're participating as positively as you can to the conversation. And hey man, thanks for checking it out. Appreciate comments, good and bad. But thanks for listening, and just wanted to touch on a couple of those things. So thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed the speech. Bye.